You don't expect danger to come from the place you once called safe. Not from blood, not from the person you trusted enough to leave your child with. But sometimes, betrayal doesn't knock. It sits quietly in your living room, smiling, answering your calls, calling you my sister, while slowly destroying everything you love. And by the time you finally see it for what it is, it's already too late. And that was exactly the kind of truth Naomi walked into without warning. Naomi never imagined her life would turn out this way. 5 years ago, she stood at the airport with one small suitcase and a heart heavier than anything she could carry. Her son, Samuel, clung to her, crying in a way that didn't sound like a child throwing a tantrum. It sounded like something breaking. "Mommy, don't go." Those words stayed with her long after the plane took off. Naomi was a single mother. Life had not been kind to her, but she had refused to let it harden her. Instead, it made her determined, fiercely determined. Everything she did for Samuel. He wasn't just her son. He was her reason, her motivation, her proof that something good had come out of her struggles. And then there was Dora, her younger sister. If Naomi loved Samuel deeply, she loved Dora almost just as much. They had grown up together in hardship, the kind of hardship that bonds people in a way comfort never can. They shared one mattress, one meal, one dream to survive and somehow make life better than what they met. Naomi had always been the stronger one, the protector, the provider. Even when they were younger, Naomi would give Dora the biggest portion of food and pretend she wasn't hungry. So when life forced Naomi to make the hardest decision of her life, there was only one person she could trust: Dora. "I will take care of him like my own," Dora had said, holding Samuel in her arms that day. "You don't have to worry, sis. Go and build your life. We are here." Naomi searched her sister's face, looking for reassurance, something deeper than words. "Promise me," Naomi said, her voice shaking. "Promise me you won't let anything happen to him." Dora smiled. "I promise, sis." And Naomi believed her. Canada was not what Naomi expected. It wasn't the land of easy money people talked about. It was cold, painfully cold. Not just the weather, but life itself. She took whatever jobs she could find, cleaning offices at night, working in restaurants during the day, standing for hours until her legs ached so badly she cried in the bathroom during her break. There were days she ate once, days she slept for barely 3 hours, days she questioned if she had made a mistake. But every time she felt like giving up, she would open her phone and stare at Samuel's picture. His smile, his small face, his eyes that trusted her completely. And she would whisper to herself, "I am doing this for you." That was enough to keep her going. At first, everything seemed fine. Dora would call and update her. "Samuel is okay. He is in school. He misses you, but he's fine." Those words comforted Naomi. They gave her peace until the calls started changing. The first time Dora asked for money urgently, Naomi didn't hesitate. "Samuel is sick," Dora said over the phone, her voice filled with urgency. "We had to take him to the hospital." Naomi's heart dropped. "What happened? What's wrong with him?" "I don't even know. He just fell ill suddenly." "How much do you need?" Dora mentioned an amount. Naomi didn't argue, didn't even think twice. She sent it immediately because it was for Samuel. And when it came to her son, money was never a discussion. But then it happened again and again and again. Every few weeks, there was a new emergency. Samuel is sick. He had been admitted. They need to run tests. The doctor said we should change his diet. The school is not safe. I need to move him to a better school. Every call came with urgency. Every story came with a request, and Naomi kept sending. She picked up more shifts, worked longer hours, sacrificed sleep, comfort, everything, just to meet the constant demands. Because in her mind, she wasn't just sending money, she was protecting her son. But slowly, something didn't feel right. Samuel had never been a sick child. Not like this. He was strong, playful, full of life. So why was he suddenly always in the hospital? Naomi began to ask questions. What exactly is wrong with him? I don't know, Dora would reply quickly. The doctors are still checking. What did they say last time? It's just one of those things. Children fall sick. Let me speak to him. He is resting. Can we do a video call? Not now. He's not looking fine. There was always a reason, always an excuse, always something that prevented Naomi from seeing her son properly. On the rare occasions she got to speak with Samuel, the calls felt controlled, too controlled. Say hello to your mommy. Dora's voice would be heard in the background. Hello, mommy, Samuel would say softly. How are you, my baby? I am fine. Are you okay? Are you eating well? Yes, mommy. His answers were always short, careful, as if he was reading from a script. And Naomi noticed something else, fear. There was something in his voice that didn't sit right, something that made her heart uneasy. Unknown to Naomi, behind those calls was a completely different reality. Dora was not the caring guardian she pretended to be. Far from it, she had turned Naomi into a walking ATM, a steady source of money, and she had no intention of stopping. Dora loved enjoyment. She loved the attention, the nightlife, the parties, the feeling of being seen. While Naomi was abroad breaking her back to earn money, Dora was living a life she had never dreamed of, clubbing almost every night, buying expensive clothes, hanging out with friends who knew nothing about where her money came from. And Samuel was an inconvenience, a responsibility she never truly wanted. Many nights, Dora would leave the house without cooking. Samuel would sit quietly, waiting, hoping she would return early. But she never did. Hunger became something he learned to ignore. Sometimes he would find snacks, junk food, biscuits, soft drinks. That became his survival. At school, things were getting worse. His performance dropped. His teachers noticed the change. The once lively child had become withdrawn, quiet, easily distracted. But when they tried to reach out, there was no real follow-up from home. Dora didn't care. As long as the money kept coming, nothing else mattered. At home, Samuel walked on eggshells. Any small mistake could trigger Dora's anger. Why are you always disturbing me? Can't you see I'm busy? You think money grows on trees? The irony, the very money she spent recklessly was earned through Naomi's sweat and sacrifice. But Samuel didn't know that. All he knew was fear. Because every call with Naomi, Dora had a routine. Stand properly, smile, don't say anything stupid. And if you mess this up, she would lower her voice, her eyes hard. You will regret it. Samuel would nod, his small heart racing, trying to be perfect, trying not to make a mistake, because he knew the consequences. Back in Canada, Naomi felt it more strongly now. Something was wrong. She couldn't explain it fully, but a mother knows. There are things you feel that no one can convince you otherwise. Late at night, after a long shift, she would lie on her bed staring at the ceiling, her heart restless. My son is not okay. The thoughts refused to leave her, but every time she tried to confront Dora, the same response came. You worry too much. He's fine. I'm taking care of him. And still, Naomi kept sending money, because what if she was wrong? What if Samuel truly needed those things? What if questioning too much meant delaying something important for him? So she chose the safer option, to give, to trust. She had no idea that with every transfer she made, she was funding the very neglect that was destroying her child. And somewhere, miles away from her, her son was slowly slipping into a life she never planned for him. A life of loneliness, hunger, fear, and silence. Until one day, Naomi stopped convincing herself that everything was fine. She couldn't sleep properly anymore. Even when she closed her eyes after long, exhausting shifts, her mind refused to rest. It kept going back to the same thoughts over and over again. Something is wrong with my son. It wasn't just worry, it was deeper than that. A quiet, stubborn knowing that refused to be silenced. At work, she would forget simple things, burn food, miss instructions. Her body was in Canada, but her heart had already traveled home. One evening, after ending a late shift, she sat alone in the small room, staring at Samuel's picture on her phone. He was smiling in that picture, bright, alive, happy. Not the quiet, distant boy she had been hearing over the phone. That was when she made the decision. No long planning, no announcement. She was going home. Naomi didn't tell Dora. She didn't call. She didn't even hint at it. Part of her wanted it to be a surprise. But a deeper part of her wanted to see the truth without preparation. If everything was truly fine, then there was nothing to hide. But if it wasn't, she would see it with her own eyes. The journey felt longer than usual. Every hour stretched. Every delay annoyed her. By the time she finally arrived, her chest felt tight with anticipation. She didn't stop anywhere, didn't visit anyone. She went straight home. Dora opened the door, and for a split second, her face froze. Shock, pure, unfiltered shock. What? Naomi! The smile that followed came late, forced. You didn't tell me you were coming. Naomi hugged her lightly. I wanted to surprise you. But even as she said it, she felt it. Something in Dora's body was stiff, uncomfortable. Not the warm, excited reaction she expected. Where is Samuel? Naomi asked immediately, her eyes already searching past her. Dora hesitated for just a moment. He went for after-school lessons. He should be back soon. Naomi nodded. Okay. But her heart didn't settle. As she stepped into the house, she paused. Everything was different. The house didn't look like the one she left behind. It looked expensive. New furniture, modern decorations, shiny appliances. Everything screamed money. Not just comfort, luxury. Naomi's eyes moved slowly across the room. How? She had been sending money, yes, but this? This looked like the home of someone living far beyond survival. More like someone enjoying life. She said nothing, just a quiet, observing silence. I have been trying to make the place better, Dora said quickly, as if reading her thoughts. Naomi nodded again, still quiet, still watching. I'll just check the rooms, Naomi said casually. See what you've done with the place. Dora laughed lightly. Of course, go ahead. But her voice carried tension. Naomi walked down the hallway slowly, opening doors, looking around. Everything was new. Everything was upgraded. Everything felt excessive. Then she saw it. A door at the end of the corridor, closed, locked. She stopped. What's in this room? Dora's voice came quickly from behind. Oh, nothing. Just storage. It's messy. You won't like it. Open it. It's really not. Dora, Naomi said, her voice calm but firm. Open the door. There was a pause, a long one. Then Dora forced a laugh. You just came back. You should rest first. Open the door. Something in Naomi's tone changed, and Dora knew she couldn't avoid it anymore. With slow hands, she reached into her pockets and brought out the key. Her fingers trembled slightly. The door opened. The smell hit first. A stale, suffocating smell that didn't belong in a home. Naomi's stomach tightened. Then her eyes adjusted, and what she saw made her words stop. Samuel, her son, lying on the bed floor, cold slightly, one hand holding his stomach. His body looked smaller, too small, his skin dull, his eyes weak, sunken. Samuel? Her voice broke before his name even finished leaving her lips. He looked up slowly, as if lifting his head alone required effort. Mommy! That one word shattered her. Naomi rushed to him, dropped to her knees, gathered him into her arms. At the moment she touched him, she felt it. Bones, too sharp, too visible. Her child was wasting away. What is this? She screamed, turning to Dora. Her voice didn't sound like hers anymore. How could you do this to my son? Tears were already streaming down her face, hot, uncontrollable. Dora stammered. I was just, he was. But there was no explanation. None that could justify what Naomi was saying. Naomi didn't wait. She carried Samuel immediately, rushed out, didn't look back, didn't argue, didn't shout again, because at that moment, nothing mattered except saving her son. At the hospital, the truth came out. Samuel was severely malnourished, dehydrated, weak to the point of collapse. The doctor mentioned protein energy malnutrition, a condition caused by prolonged lack of proper food. Naomi sat there, hearing the words, but they didn't fully register. Her ears rang. Her chest felt hollow. Malnourished? Her son? The same child she had been sending money for. The same child she believed was being cared for. She broke down, deeply. The kind of crying that comes from a place words cannot reach. All the nights she walked, all the meals she skipped, all the money she sent, every sacrifice, every effort, gone, wasted, turned into luxury and neglect. And the person who did this was her own sister, her only sister. Naomi didn't confront Dora again. She didn't scream, didn't fight, didn't even call her, because the pain had gone beyond anger. It had become something heavier, a deep, cutting betrayal. When Samuel was discharged, Naomi made a decision. She would not go back to that house, not even for a day. She got a service apartment, a clean, quiet space, just her and her son, away from Dora, away from everything that reminded her of what had happened. The first night there, Samuel slept peacefully, for the first time in a long time, and Naomi sat beside him, watching him, as if afraid he might disappear if she looked away. As he slowly regained strength, he began to talk, little by little. At first, he was hesitant, careful, as if he was still afraid. But Naomi reassured him. You are safe now, she whispered. You can tell me anything. And then he did. Mommy, Auntie Dora locks me in that room sometimes. Dora's heart tightened. For what? If I don't finish cleaning the house, or if I make mistake. Her chest felt like it was being crushed. She says I won't eat. His voice was quiet, almost normal, as if he had gotten used to it. Sometimes I stayed there till morning. Naomi covered her mouth, tears streaming again. No food, no water. A pause. Then he added softly, when I'm thirsty, I drink from the toilet. Naomi broke completely. She pulled him into her arms and cried like a woman who had lost something she could never fully get back. She goes out a lot, Samuel continued. Sometimes she doesn't cook. I just eat biscuits or nothing. Every word was a knife, every sentence a wound. Naomi thought about their childhood, how she had protected Dora, fed her, sacrificed for her, loved her, stood in place of a parent after theirs died. And this was what Dora did in return. She wept bitterly, not just for Samuel, but for herself, for the trust she gave, for the love she believed was mutual. After that, Naomi didn't delay. She started working on Samuel's visa immediately. This time, there would be no dependence on anyone, no trust placed where it didn't belong. When everything was ready, she left with her son back to Canada, and that chapter of her life ended. Dora tried. At first, calls, messages, apologies, begging, crying. But Naomi didn't respond, not once. On every platform, she blocked her. Even when Dora created new accounts, the moment Naomi realized it was her, she blocked immediately. Silence, complete, final. And then reality came for Dora. The money stopped completely. The lifestyle she had built collapsed. Her friends, they disappeared, one by one, because they were never really friends, just people who enjoyed what she could offer. The parties ended, the attention faded, the calls stopped. Soon, she started selling things, jewelry, clothes, her car, everything she once used to show off. But it wasn't enough. The money finished. Hunger came, real hunger. The kind she never allowed Samuel to escape from. Rent expired, and one day she was thrown out, standing outside with her belongings. No home, no support, no sister. Back to where it all started. Only this time, there was no one left to save her. If you enjoyed this story, give it a like, share with your friends and your loved ones. And if you love stories like these, subscribe so you don't miss our next upload. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.